I'm really, really early, so I'm just going to wait for the chat to populate somewhat, and then we'll start a lesson. Tonight's lesson, or not lesson, you say lesson, have fun, or a different way. We're going to take the stick control book, and we're going to have some fun with it. You know, we play right, left, right, left on the snare drum, and then we work the next line. And some guys say, well, what is this all about? What do I care about this? That's in another lesson. We're going to take polyrhythms. Who we got in here? Steve Murphy. Okay, good. Hold on. Now, what I want to do is, there's 5,000 different ways to do the stick control book. Now, you do it with your hands. I don't have my double beater, so I use my hi-hat. And your feet in all different kinds of ways. But we're going to take a basic practice the way George Lawrence Stone intended the top one surface to be. All equal. Okay. And we go over that. We do the whole page. Some people even are religious about 20 times. That's pretty shallow. And I'm not saying George Lawrence Stone was shallow. Definitely not. Brilliant. So, example. In my last publication, the stick control formulas, the polyrhythm is not in there, but there's some one surface and some substitution exercises we're going to do from there against the polyrhythm. And I want to work with mostly 3 against 4. Now, that means simply I'm going to play to a downbeat. One hand's going to play the triplet, and the other hand, or whatever limb, is going to play the 4. So, what I'm going to do is say, all right, that's right, left. That's R. That's the 4 against the triplet. Okay? So, in order for me to get the 16th notes inside of a triplet, I have to subdivide the triplet, or subdivide the 12 beats. 3 times 4 equals 12. How many times can I do one rhythm equally when I come back to 1, doing 3 and the other one 4? You figure it out. So when I usually count triplets, 1 and 2 and So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change that count. I'm going to hit, instead of 1 and I'm going to hit 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So now I'm changing my thought of counting from 1 and to 1, 2, 3. Now I want to open up the spaces in between 1, 2, and 3 a little bit more. So I'm going to count it as 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and. And I'm going to make the 1, 2, 3, the 3 on top. 1 E and 2 E and 3. E and 2 E and 3 E. I'm sorry. 1 E and 2 E and 3. 1. So that establishes the 3. Now how do I get the 4? So I'm counting 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and. I'm going to go every third count I'm going to play. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and. That's the 4. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my left hand, I'm going to play 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. While my bass drum is going to be playing the 4. Simple. Now, a good way to practice this, I mean, just to know the polyrhythm, what am I going to do with that? Where am I going to play it? All that good stuff. Well, you probably play it somewhere in your music or you hear it somewhere in your music. That's good. Now you're being told how it's accomplished a 3 against 2 feel, a 3 against 4 feel. So take that into consideration. What I'm doing now is I'm taking the stick control book. First off, I said hello to the 3 against 4 with 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and then the 4 with the bass drum. So I feel it. 1. I feel good with it. Now, I say, that's 4 rights. Let me try alternating strokes from the stick control book, like right, left, with the feet. R being the bass drum, L being the hi-hat, while you're playing the triplet. So the 4 is going to be whatever's on the stick control book. Line 1, if I count 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and a, I get 1 E and 2 and 3 E and Now I'm going to play that. Excuse me, with the 3. That was line 1. Let me go, I feel a little loose right now. Let me go to line 5. That's where we're going to play this with the feet. That's line 5. Against the triplet. 1. 1. And so on and so forth. So many different ways to do it. Now, the object here is not, I could do this, I could do that. You're developing a tremendous amount of focus. And once you get this going on, and it feels good and it's smooth, start to play things 3 against 4 inside of a groove. And if you're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you can break that up at 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Subdivide the count. Okay, so now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, what was I saying? Jesus. The stick control book and do it a little bit different. All right? All this stuff gets you insane. Trust me. It's more commonplace to do it right, left, do the page down with the bass drum and your second bass drum or your hi-hat than it is this way. If I took, now, we use a substitution. I'm not sure if this is going to work. This is really hard. And I'm going to do line 1 between my right hand and my left hand. Now, what that means, my right's going to remain the same. I'm going to contain it to one voice. 1. Now, whenever I see an L, it's going to equal or become the bass drum. That's the substitution. So if I did line 1, 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and now that in itself is not difficult. All you're doing is transferring the thought to another voice. Okay, so now let's challenge that simplicity against the triplet. Now, I do this really, really slow for a lot of reasons. It's difficult, number 1. Number 2, when I'm playing it slow, it gives me an opportunity to re-examine if there's something wrong. If I see something wrong, I can correct it. So I do it really slow. Okay, now remember, the rights remain the rights, the lefts remain the bass drum. That stuff, I don't know if I'm doing it right. I thought I reversed it. Hold on. Be patient, guys. It's not easy. Not the three should have been here. Sorry. That's difficult. Let's skip that one. Let's go to another one. I'm sorry. Hey, how you doing? I just put myself in a bind. That's okay. Got to practice it. And that's another thing when you practice. Some guys who view this been playing 100 years. Some guys have been playing 5 years or whatever. And yeah, I want to get really good at the drums. I want to learn as much as I can about my instrument to the music and me to my drums to the music as much as I can. So, what I like to do when I practice something like this, first you got to learn how to play it. You're going to hear it. I'm going to set the metronome. I don't know if that's too, hey Paul, I don't know if that's too loud. Can you hear that metronome, guys? Can you hear the metronome? Please answer me. All right. Now, I randomly just took a tempo. I don't know. Now, I'm going to practice the things I teach, which they need a lot of. And in that process, I make practicing into my playing, which that's the evolution of the whole thing. So what I'm doing is I'm playing, wherever my drums take me, I'm going to practice what I feel and hear. Okay, enough of me flipping it a little bit, having a little fun. Okay. Now, what I'm trying to do, and this is going to be directed for some of the guys who attend my Zoom master class, which is every day at 1 p.m. And it's related to this in a lot of ways. Polyrhythms. In order to play polyrhythms, you have to focus intensely. Now, the problem was the guy's a good player. He's got some nice hands, stiff, which is all right. And I give the guy a whole lot of credit, believe me, but he's really stiff. Now, what he's doing there is absolutely sound-wise and technically correct. Okay? But a few things have to be taken care of. When he comes down, he's coming down with his arms stiff. He locks in the wrist and locks in the fingers. And it chokes the sound. He's like this. Now watch Uncle Matt. Different sound. Okay, so now you got to relax your body when you play. Whether you play eighth notes, anything you play. Now look at my arm. I can play out here. That's ridiculous. But I'm playing here. And I'm not thinking about anything but the sound. Now the problem, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. The issue was said to me, I can't think about everything and play it like this at the same time. Well, that's what polyrhythms is for. Let me slow that down. 1. Now what? Now there was emotion in there. There's a million ways there, Stephen, to do the book. It's the most respected book in the drum community. And I tilt my hat off to the brilliance of George Lawrence Stone. If you just only did the first page, what can I tell you, man? Well, that's one less page you would have to do to get to the end. Look at the better part of it. Or, well, you're on line 1, and it's boring as all hell if you don't understand what's going on with the stick control book. It's not just rights, lefts, left. You're controlling, when you hit your drum, you're controlling the sound. Right? So the sticks have to sound equal on both sides. That's the concept of the stick control book. What's this now? Well, that's a good thing. Whether you're lefty, open-handed, or whatever. That's not a problem. Technique is a technique. What you have to do, that's the motion. This is what I wanted really to direct, was that motion. Everybody gets confused. They refer to it as a molar stroke like this and a whip. I have no idea what the hell that is. I don't play like that, and I haven't seen anybody play like that using this. It's an arm stroke. He's taught, he has a run of eighth note triplets with his right hand, no accident. Then you tell him to put the accent on the first stroke of the triplet. Perfect. He understands the concept of the levels. Down stroke, tap, up to get the sound. Now, once you get the sound, you get it flowing and you hear it. Now you got to incorporate your whole body. So I'm going to do the triplet slow. Watch the elbow. 1. I just come down. And it's just a tap. Now on the da, as I tap the drum, my elbow kind of slightly comes up to that position. My elbow pumps into the side. That's where you got to go. So if you want to get there, you got to stay here for a while. Examine what's going on. Hey, that feels pretty good, right? Nice slow tempo. You got the motion rocking. You feel good. Go to the next tempo. Don't go from 60 to 260. Go to 64 or something. Feel it there. Do it. You'll incorporate that swing. It's when you play, you're not like this. Just imagine yourself going from the snare drum to the tom toms. You have to be relaxed. You can't go. You see, relax. That help you, boys? Steve, here's what. All right, let me go back a little bit. I'm responding to the chat, and the question is not a question, but a statement was made. Well, my right hand, I'm right-handed. My right hand is stronger than my left hand. Is really weak. Well, that's because your right hand does all the work in real life. You know, pick up a fork, pick up a spoon, pick up a drumstick, or whatever. Right-handed. Now, you want to open up that plane and say, okay, I want to strengthen the right side and the left side equally, no matter what kind of sequence they come in. So George L. Stone, I'm not going to do this in full strokes, I'm going to do it in half strokes. When you play the line 1, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and my right hand and my left hand sounded equal. Not 1 and 2 and you're equalizing the sound. Now, that's just one sequence. You go to the second line, third line, or you play the whole line down. The whole page down, rather. I first say from 1 to 12. And I'm not going to use a vamp because I don't want to confuse anybody. But let me put the metronome on. We'll do it nice and slow. I'll do the first line, repeat the first line. Without a vamp, I'm going to go into the second one. Equal sound. So on and so forth. I don't want to do the whole page down. You get the drift. My right side, when I strike, sounds exactly like my left. If they don't, I make the adjustment. The object of the stick control up front, okay, the same sticking heights all the time on attack. The right hand, the left hand sound the same. There is no accents. All right? No matter what line or what sequence you fall in. That was 9. Okay? It doesn't matter as long as the right and left are equalized. Now, that's tedious, a lot of work, but let me tell you, the end result you're going to be so happy about. Who's this? Johnny. I do, huh? Oh, boy. I remind you, Jim Chapin. No, I do exactly the opposite of Jim Chapin. Jim Chapin, a great educator, without a doubt. But he was too fantasizing with the molar thing, and the molar thing took off. And people are playing the level system. They're playing the stone method, or the natural way to play, the laws of physics. I remind you of the full stroke. That's nice, Jim Shaper. Well, that's nice, I guess. Thank you. No problem. Okay, so where was I? I go off with these answers. What I like to do, like if you see the way I just did, my right hand and my left hand all sounding the same. Now we can have, that does get monotonous, without a doubt. But have you ever thought of, say, okay, instead of me playing all the rights on the snare, let me play all the rights with the bass drum. Obviously, they're not going to sound the same, two different voices, but they're in tempo. Or line 5. What is all this stuff coming in now? Okay. No problem. Nice and peaceful and relaxed. Equal sound. Imagine somebody doing signals like this. That sounds terrible, man. The sticks would go all over the place. Stick control teaches you about sticks, about sticking patterns. No matter where you start from, equal sound. And then don't just want to play it on one surface, man. Be creative. Play it between the bass drum as the rights, and lefts remain on the snare drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now instead of just developing the coordination between the right and left hand, now you're developing more coordination between the bass drum and the snare drum. Okay, now if I don't have the double beaters, but I would do the same thing on the left side. It's just a lot of fun to do it, and you have a lot of a good time with it. It's just don't contain yourself to one way. Be creative. For example, if I do the forgotten foot, everybody calls it the hi-hat, and said, okay, I'm going to do line 1 as all R's equal to hi-hat, all R's equal to right hand on the snare drum, and all L's equal to hi-hat. So you have this. Let me put the metronome on. Now, if you can't hear the metronome, that's a good for me. Here's another one for you, boys. I'm relaxed. 1 and 2. Just dropping the left hand. Nice and relaxed. No tension in the back. So I'm counting 1 and 2 and 3. Now I'm going to accent the count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at the elbow. A little less to think about. Does that help you there, boys? All right, well, that's 1,000 different ways. I did want to focus in the beginning of the lesson. I got a little lost, sidetracked here, trying to respond to the chat. But polyrhythms and stick control book, I feel were meant for each other in a lot of nice ways. Not that, hey, I don't mean it that way. It's just the practice of polyrhythm, playing the stick control book down, or referencing from the stick control book, helps you concentrate, no matter what element you use. What's this? So you're concentrating again, right? We're going back to this. 1, 2, 3. I make that to 3. The metronome. I'm gonna make the bass drum to 4. That's nice and slow. I'm not trying to prove anything to nobody except myself. I got to get the 4 in there. How the hell am I going to do that? Here you go. Let's give it a try. Gets a little crazy, but you got the idea. And when like I said in the beginning of the lesson, when you're practicing, sitting on the drum pad, you take practicing on the drum pad to get it, going on a little bit. But you actually should go to your drum set and you play on the drum set what you learn and you think you got going on. Because you play on the drum set, you practice on the pad. But I like to practice on the drum set as well. So, with that being said, practicing is hard, man. It's like everybody's got on a personal journey and their personal attitude. Well, the more I practice, the better I'm going to become, the greater I'm going to be known. That shit, that's ridiculous. You practice because you want to become better, or you want to open up some doors. Now, practicing with the metronome. I'm gonna really slow that, not because the speed's too much, but the feel is not right for me. Let me try that. That's a nice 3. And I'm just playing quarter notes. I'm practicing. That sounds the same, left hand. We gave you exercises like this in the past, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're moving around, having a lot of fun, but I'm practicing with the metronome. I don't know what I'm going to play or what I want to get in practice, but when I hear something, I'm going to go over, and I feel a little weak, I'm going to go over and over and over again. Polyrhythm now. That's a nice place to practice. What do you think? Hey, Bob. It's a nice place to kind of practice. Practicing on the drum pad, doing the stick control book, remembering how to do it, utilizing the vamps. learn the sticking pattern for a Swiss Army triplet. You know, that's cool. That you're learning. That's a stage. But what you learn, you need to apply in some sort of pattern or some sort of feel eventually. You know, I just didn't pick up the sticks and start playing 3 against 4 when I heard it or start developing exercises. Man, I had to pay my dues and work real hard. And I'll tell you, man, you do that shit, it make you dizzy. Whoa, and sleep because it's tiring. But I just have a lot of fun when I practice. Yeah, there's a lot of times I sit down at the drum pit, many times, and because, the living conditions, or people are in the house that can't hear a set of drums at 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay, you know what I mean. So I do hit the drum pad, and when I do, I more or less approach the drum pad at this point in my time, my whole 4 time of playing, as an exercising vehicle. Over and over again, I'll sit there and do 16th notes like this. 2, 3, 5 minutes. It's a workout. It's like you go to the gym, you lift weights. This is not athletic, but that's what I'm associating it with. You have to work hard, real hard. But when you get to a point where it starts to flow, you get a Swiss Army triplet or a paradiddle. Just make things simple. So you get your paradiddles there. You have the levels in place. That's not too fast. Hey, man, yeah, that sounds good. Now what? You got it working up. You got it. You got the technique. How are you gonna use it? Play it your way. You're paying your dues to a paradiddle. And if you've been playing 10 or 15 years, you don't have to do this every day. Very rarely should you come back and work at it. You got it going on at a tempo. Like, let me take the tempo up a little bit now. Total sleep. I don't know, 106. I want to run paradiddles. It's like if I'm practicing paradiddles, I could do them on a drum pad. So good for me. Hey, everybody send me a trophy. So now I want to do them on a snare drum. Now what am I going to do? Gee. Paradiddle. I'm going to play a paradiddle all throughout the song. I'm in a groove. Now the metronome's my groove. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Sorry. Pissed me off. I went to the wrong place. Anyway, that was fun. Yeah, you can. That's a bad excuse. That's giving up, man, before you even start. Like I said, let me just practice a little. Watch me practice. And you'll hear some polyrhythms occasionally if I feel them. I'm going to exercise. Yet I'm going to play in. I have to play in time. That's my structure right there. I'm going to keep this on. Let me see that. Oh, come on. I mean, that's a compliment, man, but that's no way. I learned a lot from Joe, and I ventured off into my own, and plus interacting with all of Joe's former students, learn more, and plus teaching and talking to other drummers, you learn more. It's not, the technique is not Joe Morello's technique, and the technique is not George Lawrence Stone's technique. It's the laws of physics. Simple. And if you follow it, you'll be successful. If you fight it, guess what? You'll lose. Anyway, let me just practice. That was nice, Ed. Thank you. All right, that's a pretty nice tempo. Vamp on my drum bit, why not on my drum? 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1. A different ball game when you do it on the drum. Then the jump in. Now you hear what you really sound like, and you're making the adjustment. And here's that tick. The headphones are gone. What it's about. You're playing them now. You already practiced them. If you can't play them, go back and practice them on the drum bit till you play them. Right, Edward? 1. You see, they no longer become exercises. which there really are. I'm not associating anything that I'm doing now to any kind of musical situation, just a mathematical approach and an attack to clean my attack up. But that's the way you got to practice, man, once you get it flowing. If you can't play triplets on the snare drum like this, rather on the drum pad like that, you're not going to do it on your snare drum. Get it right. Get the motion going. It's so simple. Or no matter what you do, don't make it complex. Any questions on anything? What's that? Well, it's not about. All right, thank you for the comment. I keep forgetting to say thank you. I just assume that people play like this. Maybe I'm totally wrong. There's some really great players out there. They play so nice, you know. But there's some forget it. All right, well, just practice, man. It's so simple, not complicated. Have fun. Work hard. If you don't understand something and you're trying to work something out on the drum pad, you come to the drum set, you play it a little bit more, and you feel good about it. Now you'll hear it. Now remember, you can't really play it unless you hear it. Simple. Any questions? No questions? How much can I practice? I've been practicing all day. I'm gonna have some dinner, especially our first dinner, and then come back to practicing. Subconsciously for you. I don't know what you mean by that. I'm confused about this. I'm just doing them. It's not subconscious. I hear something. I'm going to go for it and hear how it sounds on the drum. It's a feel, man. I always tell you, put a groove in. That's your friend. That's what you're playing from. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I decide, I hear something. I'm just playing, I hear something. Try it again, man. There you go. Practice play. Mr. Murphy, where do you think everything comes from when you play? It all comes from your head. If your head wasn't screwed on right, you ain't going to play nothing. So it's got to come through your brain and transform into your hand, but your soul is the one that really executes. Now, I'm not playing, I don't know what. Again, playing a little time. Having fun, that's my time. I'm not thinking about what I'm playing. There's nothing subconsciously. I don't know what you really mean. Maybe you want to talk to me in private. It just comes out, man. It's like Tommy Igoe. I like to mention him because he's really a good drummer. He really is. And I caught him a couple times in clinic. The one thing that always stayed with me, it was with me, but he reinforced it to stay with me. Yeah, well, here I am, a bunch of drummers, and you're going to come hear me play. I have no idea what I'm going to play. I'm going to have a conversation with me and my drums. If they talk back, I'll talk back to them. We'll see where it takes me. That's a good attitude. Same thing with the practice. You guys understand what I just meant by that? Practice. Say hello. Boom. Bang. Bang. 3, 2. Yeah, get me crazy. Who's this? Have a conversation. I'm not playing any kind of song structure. When that occurs, when I say you don't know what kind of conversation you can have with your drums, I mean, it sounds a little wacky, but it's the truth. And when you're able to do something like that or just play without thinking about practicing or just play, that's called an open drum solo because there's no structure of the song you're playing from or melodic structure you're playing from, rather. It's you just playing. Whatever happens, happens. I don't know what's going to happen. It just happens. Unless I say, all right, this is what I have to play for this particular part, then I remember that. But the thing is to have fun, man. Open-handed. You play like this, Murphy. I don't execute this way. I have to execute this way because I'm right-handed. What else we got here? 5/4. Come on. All right, let's see. Let me just slow that down a little bit. That's my quarter note. So I decided to hit on it. Who's that? SK? Just having some fun. It's still practice. You want to play? Get yourself a band. Go out to jam sessions. That's what this is all about. Open to the music. We're in a studio. I'm giving an instructional video. I don't have a big band before. Behind me. I wish I did. Just having fun, practicing. Stay on the drum head. 1, hand. The whole page with the band. Just relax. See that, boys? Robert? All right, I gotta go. Sorry. Now, tomorrow, we're going to be on Zoom only at 1 p.m. I can't make an 7 p.m. lesson, so I have to talk to the guys about that. You're welcome, Ed. So if anybody who would like the codes for tomorrow's lesson or master class or whatever you want to call it, a fun class, an exchanging of idea class, a learning class, everybody learns. If you want to come to the Zoom, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, email me. Can somebody put my email in there, like Ed or Hoist or Paul, Robert? Now, there's a lot of people watching. I didn't even pay attention to that. Put my email in there, mattpatella1001@gmail.com. Anybody wants some of this stuff written out, contact me. We'll talk about it. But I do have it written out. And remember, tomorrow only 1 p.m. Everybody's invited. Tell your friends. It's a master class, but it's like everybody's involved. There's not one guy. This is the way you do this, and this is the way you do that. You know? Thank you, Hoist. What else the mouse? Thank you, Hoist. And too. All right. Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody. All right. Tomorrow. 1 o'clock only tomorrow. Zoom. Any questions?